Sonic Superstars is almost peak. It's still a kick-ass 8 out of 10, but man, those bosses. I think I speak for everyone when I did not expect a new Sonic game to come out so soon after Sonic Frontiers, and with this one being a follow-up to the Holy Sonic Mania, this game had a lot of shoes to fill. Did it? Well, in a lot of ways, I think so, but in others, absolutely the fuck not. Sonic Superstars, for the most part, is everything I could have wanted out of a new 2D Sonic game. The game is 2.5D and looks beautiful. I don't know why some people act like this game doesn't look good, but I think it looks perfect. Not every game has to be super stylized like Mario Wonder in order to look good. Superstars looks great. The game's structure is a continuation of Sonic 3/Mania. The level design, in my opinion, is top-notch and is comparable to Mania. The control is basically identical to the other games. Super Sonic finally has a D-transformation button in an official game. Sonic Superstars has everything it needs to become the best 2D Sonic game, but oh my gosh, those bosses! It's very important to note that I didn't want to make this video as fast as I could after the game's release. Classic Sonic games are best judged after the third or fourth run-through. Remember when Mania came out and everyone was complaining about the Oil-Ocean boss? I'm the only one who really does. These games become way better once you actually master them first, so that's why this video took a bit longer than others on the topic. Another mention is that I feel like no opinion should take priority over others. However, in this case, I feel like someone like me has pretty good say in judging Sonic Superstars because I'm a classic Sonic fanatic. I've beaten Mania over 100 times, and that's lowballing it. I lost count in 2018, and I've been playing the game a million times since. Sometimes I would play the game with every single character in a single sitting. I know, I'm a freak, but same thing applies to Sonic 3K, and to a lesser extent 1 through CD. What I'm trying to get at here is that I know these games better than anything else, and I think my opinion on the matter will be interesting to hear. And since Chaos knows when I'm gonna make a review series video on Superstars, this should be good for now. The core levels of Superstars itself are amazing. There are some I like more than others, but man, I have a blast going through these stages. It helps greatly that all of these are fully original, which is amazing. Some fans prefer Superstars and Mania purely based on that fact, and I can't blame them. There are so many memorable set pieces here. Speed Jungle is wicked cool. Pinball Carnival is super fun and now is my favorite carnival/pinball themed zone in Sonic history. Wet Lagoon is one of the best water levels in any Sonic game, and I adore Sand Sanctuary and Golden Capital. Superstars has level themes nailed, and same goes for the actual design. Playing through these stages is so much fun. It felt so good to suck at Sonic for once. It feels so good to learn new layouts and perfect my strategies. With super tight platforming and super fun level gimmicks, and pure level design, a lot of 2D Sonic hits will get a huge kick out of this game purely because of that. A lot of people would argue that the levels don't flow as well as previous games, and the answer to that is you haven't mastered it yet. The same sort of thing happened with Mania when that came out. Remember when everyone was talking about how hard that was? These games get better as you replay them, and Superstars is no exception. And being able to play as a bunch of different characters helps out too. Amy is back from Origins and she's as fun as ever. It's almost like she was designed for the game. Origins must have been based on the moveset off of this game, honestly. And after you beat the main story, you can play as the new character Trip, and she is mega fun. I love her moveset more than Knuckles and Tails, honestly. I really hope we can see Trip come back someday. Speaking of Trip, the story for this game is pretty fun too, although I feel like a lot of the cutscenes are really lackluster without any sort of dialogue. Look, I know Sonic Team doesn't want these characters talking for some unknown reason, but it's so jarring having the classic crew speak in every other media aside from the modern games. Let's not forget that these characters never talked in the Genesis games because of system limitations. I'm not saying that they should be voice acted, just some text boxes would help. I'm not a big fan of the silent film cartoon vibe modern classic Sonic has. It just doesn't really work in my opinion. Alright, I think I ignored it for long enough. Sonic Superstars would easily get it a 10 out of 10 in my book if it was not for these stupid bosses. Let's get something out of the way. They aren't hard by any stretch of the imagination. The issue here is that they take so long. Like, before you can just cheese the bosses in the Genesis games, and I know some may find that an issue, but I actually enjoyed that aspect of those games. It kept the pace going. I would rather have piss-easy bosses than this. Not that they're even hard, just really long and tedious to get through, and they are literally the definition of a pace breaker, and I don't really understand why they're even like this to begin with. I thought Sonic 3 perfected the Sonic boss. This is a case of they tried to fix what wasn't broken, and yeah, it's bad. And I think it's morally okay to talk about this now, but if you're still wanting a spoiler-free video, skip almost ahead here. Fuck Fang Mark II! Deadass, the first time going through this game, it took me hours. 3 days of gaming sessions just to get through this one boss. People say Sonic Superstars is janky and unpolished. During regular gameplay? No way! Levels are super smooth and flow nicely. The final bosses? Oh my gosh, the jank is so real here. It's like they stopped polishing the game after this point. Sega said, just release it as is. No joke, this is not some sort of bias. Even my sister was watching me play Superstars and was amazed at the actual game itself. And while watching the final boss fight with me, she asked why does the game look and feel so different? This goes for the secret final boss tenfold, which, yes, there's a secret final boss. By gathering the emeralds, you ask? Well, yes, but also clearing Trip's story. Once you do that, you unlock the final story, which I will admit is really nostalgic seeing stories come back, but no, they fucked it up. Man, I thought the Mania final boss was mid. This makes that boss fight feel like Doomsday Zone. This boss is not fun to play at all. Also, the story here is really lackluster. I don't even know what's going on here. Ironically, Sonic 3 Knuckles does this way better than a game 30 years later could ever, but let's get back on topic. Why is this boss so bad? It's just so, and I mean so not fun to play. This boss is enough to make me understand why people don't like this game, if I'm being honest. It's such a huge contrast to the beautifully designed zones to these. That's not my only issue with Superstars. Just the huge elephant in the room. I do have some other minor issues with the game I wish to highlight. Small one first, but the reused sounds from the previous games is kind of a bummer. Not having its own act clear music doesn't really give it its own identity, and the Wisp Caspel sound effect is just weird and I'm still not used to it. This isn't really a negative, but the special stages are sort of mid as well, especially compared to the god tier stages of Sonic 3 and Knuckles and Mania. But they're okay. I can accept them. So, where the hell are the elemental shields? Mania established that these were supposed to be a mainstay. This is why I'm not really thrilled on the Emerald powers. Sure, the Emerald powers are cool in concept, but I think they're super unnecessary. More so when they replace old features. It's stripping away options by giving the illusion of something new. A lot of the powers to me just seem like Wisp ideas. I mean, Bullet is literally burst, and the others are just super lame. Uber situational, not really that fun to use. Exceptions being Copy, which really comes in handy during those boss fights, and Spike, which is literally just the homing attack. See what I mean here? A lot of these aren't even new. Also, this may be on the little nitpicky side, but this is another 2D Sonic game without the instant shield and the PLL being on Sonic's natural moveset. Why? Having the ultimate classic Sonic moveset would have been amazing. I love the drop dash, don't get me wrong, but it can fully work with the instant shield. I mean, look at Sonic 3 and Origins for Pete's sake. There's more enough buttons in the controller. Make it happen, Arzest. Overall, I think Sonic Superstars is great despite the flaws. Sure, the bosses could be better, but I find myself having so much fun with the stages themselves I couldn't care less. Some people prefer Sonic Superstars to Mania purely because of all the new zones, and I can't blame them. I, for one, love the game more and more each run-through. The level design is really tight and feels super satisfying to play. Would I recommend you to play Sonic Superstars? Well, that really depends. If you're like me, who likes to replay these games over and over again, I'm at playthrough 9 currently, then I would say so. I get a lot out of these games, so I don't mind paying $60, but if you're the type that plays these games once and never again, I would wait for a sale. I may love this game, but I know it might be a bit short for the price. I really hope you guys enjoy this mini-style review. It's gonna be a while before it gets its NNC reviews treatment. Speaking of which, I'm working on the Sonic 3 review right as we speak, so please stay tuned for that. NNC here signing out, and see you guys in the next one.